Hey folks, Felipe here once again. Welcome back to another review. I hope y'all enjoyed my review on V for Vendetta starring Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman. That's on my review. That means it's on my YouTube channel right now. Just remember the mass profile picture one. That's the one you need to be subscribed to. And if you want to know when I do videos, just hit the bell. Personalize. That means you'll know anytime I upload a video on my channel. You'll know when. It'll notify you. If you're one of my subscribers, it'll notify you and share my channel. I do appreciate the support. It does help to share. You can share it on your Facebook page, whatever. Sorry if you hear a car out there. That's my dad's car. He's going to the gym. Yeah. So hopefully the lighting's good. I don't know what's wrong with it sometimes. Damn camera. But anyway, doing my 2000s era superhero reviews. I've been on the 2000s era. I've been doing a superhero marathon on my YouTube channel. And I've been on the 2000s era of superhero movies. That means superhero movies that came out in 2000 to 2009. And I'm on the year 2005. We only got what? Think about 4 movies to go. Yeah. And well, this movie was released in 2005. This is a 2005 3D superhero adventure film directed by Robert Rodriguez, and that is The Adventures of Sharkboy and Lavagirl in 3D. I know this movie has a cult following, pretty such a cult classic, but to be honest, this is probably going to be a rant. I'm sorry. Maybe not a full epic rant, but it might end up turning that way because I thought this film, honestly, I thought it sucked. I thought it was boring. I thought it was pretty lame. It was such a boring movie, bad acting. It was just a terrible film. Yeah, I can say a number of things bad about this movie. Didn't really find anything good about it that much. Some things probably, but otherwise, I cannot get into this movie. Don't give me this. Oh, this movie's for children, for kids. I'm like, you know what? This movie had me thinking of when I was watching it. The never-ending story. It is a better movie. That's like being in a dream, in a fantasy. Dreaming. When you dream, it's like you're being in a fantasy. And yeah, this movie nearly put me to sleep. I'm not kidding. It bored me to death. You know, yeah, does not. It has not aged. It's aged terribly. Does not hold up. The never-ending story. Guess what? That's not a superhero movie. That's a fantasy film. But that's better fantasy than this. That has better special effects, practical effects that look amazing. Yeah, and at least have the guts to be a little scary with that wolf scene. That's more of a fascinating movie to watch over this, in my opinion. You know, and I can pick up the kids movies. I'm looking at Disney movies over here. Or when I think top of the head that films that I grew up watching, like Angels in the Outfield, that had better effects, a better story, and a feel good ending to it. Like they're laying a lot of Disney movies here, animated movies that are for kids. And some that are not Disney that are good movies that are for kids. So don't give me that excuse. Oh, it's a kids movie. I hate when people say that. Just have to use an excuse for everything. But anyway, let's get into the production of this movie. That is, parts of the film were shot on location in Texas from September to December 2004. For match precise and goes to school in the film. Most of the film was shot in the studio against a green screen. Most of the ships, landscapes, and other effects, including some capturing characters, were accomplished digitally. According to Taylor Lautner and Taylor Dooley, when filming the scene with the dream train, the front part of the train was an actual physical set piece. The hole inside was there, and when they all have had a gadget you can pull on. There was there. But everything else was a green screen, said Dooley. Even visual effects companies, Hybrid Technologies, KFX, Orphanage, the Orphanage, Post Logic, uh, ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, Real Pictures, Shipper Studio, and Island of Pixels and Intentional Creatures, and Rodriguez's Texas Boast Troublemaker Digital worked on the film in order to accomplish over 1,000 visual effect shots. Robert Rodriguez appears in the credit 14 times, most notably as director, the producer, and screenwriter, along with Marshall Rodriguez, a visual effects supervisor, a director of photography and editor, a camera operator, and a composer and a performer. The story is credited to racer Max Rodriguez, with additional story elements by Rebecca Rodriguez, who also wrote the lyrics for the main song Sharkboy and Lavagirl. Other members of the Rodriguez family can be seen in the film or wherever film involved in the production. Miley Cyrus had auditioned for the film with Lautner. Instead, it came down to her and another girl who was also auditioning. However, Cyrus then began production from Hannah Montana. Thus, the other girl, Bill, got the role. Dooley got the role. The Adventures of Sharkboy and Lava Girl 3D was a co-production of Dimension Films, Columbia Pictures Troublemaker Studios. It was distributed in the United States by Miramax Films and Dimension Films. I think Miramax they produced the distributed the Scream movies. Yeah. But anyway, now when the film came out, it received mostly negative reviews from critics, with much of the criticism directed at the film's poor 3D, while the visual effects and performances received some praise, which I don't get. The film did underperform at the box office, but it has since garnered a cult following and often considered regarded as a cult classic. A standalone sequel, Legacy We Can Be Heroes, was released on Netflix on December 25th, 2020, with Julie respiring her role. Not really interested in watching that, but that's just me. Rodriguez, he's an American filmmaker and composer and visual effects supervisor. Now, don't get me wrong, this guy can direct a movie. He co-directed the 2005 neo crime thriller Sin City. Yeah, with Frank Miller. I've never seen that movie, but I'm curious about it. I'm sure it looks like a better shot, a better visual effects looking movie than this. You know, in my opinion. Yeah. Rodriguez, he made movies like Desperado. I think that's with the Antonio Banderas. So I'm gonna give that a watch. Sure, that's a good movie. El Macho, From Dusk Till Dawn. He directed that. I love that movie with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino and Juliette Lewis. I think that's the actress's name, right? Juliette Lewis. Yep. And Harvey Keitel. That's a really awesome movie. That's a classic more than this. Yeah, it's not a kids movie. It's a horror film, but it's an awesome horror movie. Not saying it's completely perfect, but despite that, despite the bad acting for some Millie Halleck as the dancer and her line delivery, welcome to slavery. Everything else in that movie is good. The special effects are better looking. The stories look much better. Yeah, I guess Robert Rodriguez, when he got a family, he wanted to make more kid family movies. The Facility, I've never seen that, but I definitely want to check it out. It stars Jordana Brewster, the actor Josh Hartnett. I've seen him in Hollywood Homicide and with Harrison Ford and with Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween H2O 20 years later. Yeah. And he was an executive producer from Industrial Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. Say what you will about From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, but I like that movie. I think it's an underrated sequel. I'd rather watch that than this. And that's direct to video. And that's still a better shot movie than this. Not completely, but still a better movie than this. From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Start. Yeah, I never cared for that movie. Then all of a sudden he got away from those movies to direct Spy Kids 1 and 2, Lion and the Lost Dreams. Now, I grew up with the Spy Kids movies, had both on VHS. I think I saw the second movie in theaters. And I saw Spy Kids 3D Game Over, and I thought that film sucked too. That was a horrible experience watching that movie. I mean, Sylvester Stallone as the toy maker, I think. Yeah, it was just awful. It is a terrible film. Spy Kids 3 sucks, you know. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Probably like to give that movie a look. Kill Bill Volume 2. He was a composer on that movie. Never seen the first and didn't see the first one. And he worked on Sin City. Like I said, he was a co-director with Frank Miller on that. Frank Miller was the guy who created the book The Dark Knight Returns, and back in the 80s. Grindhouse Death Proof, Grindhouse Planet Terror, Predators from 2010. I didn't care for that movie. Machete, yeah, I heard that wasn't that great movie. Spy Kids Ultimate World, not interested in seeing any of these movies. Machete Kill, yeah, not interested. Yeah, I mean, guy is a good. Robert Rodriguez. He's a good director, but when he's doing stuff for kids or doing movies that like Sharkboy and Lavagirl, it just doesn't work. But anyway, it's directed by him. It's also written by him, Marshall Rodriguez. I guess that's his wife. The story is also by Racer Max Rodriguez. It's produced by Robert Rodriguez's wife, Elizabeth Heaven. The cinematography is by Robert Rodriguez. It's edited by him. The music is by him and John Debney and Graham Revere. John Debney, now I've known their names before, really good composers. Uh, John Debney composed Jetsons, the movie, Hocus Pocus, Little Giants. I think that was with Rick Moranis. Sudden Death, Carpool, Liar Liar, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Lost and Found, uh, Inspector Gadget, yeah, terrible film. Adventures of Elmo and Garfield, End of Days, The Emperor's New Groove, Spy Kids, Cats and Dogs, Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, Snow Dogs, Dragonfly, The Scorpion King, Spy Kids 2, Island of Dreams, Swim Fan, The Tuxedo, The Hot Chick, Malibu's Most Wanted, Bruce Almighty, Elf, Looney Tunes Back in Action. Looney Tunes Back in Action. That's a better kids movie than this. And even the first Space Jam movie is better than this movie, in my opinion. He composed The Passion of the Christ, The Whole 10 Yards, Spider Spider-Man 2. Well, I guess additional music score by Danny Elfman. I guess he worked with Danny Elfman on that. The Pacifier. Yeah, I remember not caring. I think it was with Vin Diesel. I remember not being a fan of that movie. Sin City. He did the score for that. Uh, Zathura, A Space Adventure. She Brother Dozen 2, The Ant Bully. Spider-Man 3. Evan Almighty, Big Stan, Meet Dave. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Swing Vote. Hotel for Dogs. Hannah Montana the Movie. Iron Man 2. Predators. Change Up. A Thousand Words. Draft Day. The Cobbler. The Greatest Showman. Clip of the Big Red Dog. The CGI live action movie. Hocus Pocus 2. Spy Kids Armageddon. The Garfield movie. Yeah. Sorry. Graham Revere. Now he's done music score for other superhero movies. Like, well, and films that are not superhero films, like horror movies like Child's Play 2. Love the music score to that. Hard Target. Street Fighter. Van Damme movies. Tank Girl. Tank Girl has the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. Better movies than this, in my opinion. Tank Girl is a very bizarre movie. In my mind, Power Rangers. That's into my kids, but that's a better shot movie. Better well made movie than this, in my opinion. And From Dusk Till Dawn. He did the music score for that. The Crow City of Angels. Eh. Spawn. That sucks. I hate Spawn. But this is even worse than Spawn. At least not all the effects in that movie. I'll admit some of the effects are decent in that movie. Spawn's look can be cool at times. You know, despite that, I still don't like that movie. Titan AE, which is a pretty underrated movie. Collateral Damage, Daredevil, underrated. Both versions are better than this movie. Psycho 4 at the beginning. Okay. TV movie. Production companies are Dimension Films, Columbia Pictures, Troublemaker Studios. Okay, I don't want to go through their whole history. Oh, I'm not going through all of them. Okay. It's distributed by Miramax Films. Uh, they distributed the Hellraiser movies, I guess. Children of the Corn, The Crow, and the sequels. From Dusk Till Dawn, the sequels as well. Police Story, Scream, Scary Movie. Okay. It was released June 10th, 2005 in the United States and in Los Angeles for its premiere, I guess, June 4th, 2005. The budget to make the movie was $50 million. At the box office, made $72 million worldwide. So it's it was still underperformed at the box office though. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a complete box office bomb, but it still underperformed. 50 million dollar budget, and then it made $72 million worldwide. It wasn't a huge hit. So technically underperformed. So it did not surpass its budget just by very little. so it's still underperformed. Yeah. Well, for the plot of this movie of Sharkboy and Lavagirl is that, bullied by classmate young Max, played by Caden Boyd, escapes into a fantasy dream world, conjuring up the action-packed lives of Lavagirl and Sharkboy. But one day, Lavagirl and Sharkboy suddenly come to life in their world, Planet Drool. Needs a hero named Max. As Max escapes to Planet Drool, he battles aliens and tries to save his new friend's planet from destruction. He also battles his bullies, which is Minus, who was the villain of the movie, kid villain of the movie, who have become villains like the Ice Princess. And he has to help Sharkboy and Lavagirl save their world. He has to stop the villain named Mr. Electric, yeah, and blah blah blah. Need to save the day, you know. Well, for the movie's marketing, I forgot to mention this. Sorry, and I didn't mention the cast either. Sorry, but the movie was marketed by McDonald's at the time when it came out. I forgot to mention the cast. Sorry. Caden Boyd as Max, an imaginative 10-year-old boy known as the Daydreamer. Caden Boyd, let's see. Sorry, was he in? Okay, yeah, he was in Freaky Friday as one of Harry's friends. Mystic River. Oh yeah, he was Timmy in Dodgeball Shredder's story. He was funny in that. He was really good. That's probably his best acting performance in my opinion. He was a young Warrington third cameo as in young Warrington, well, who would become Angel in X-Men: Last Stand, which come the year after this. He was good in that for a short time. He was that little cameo he did, and that yeah, and he was in the movie Dog, so I guess he hasn't done much acting wise. Taylor Lautner as Sharkboy. Taylor Lautner became a bigger career. I've never been a fan of Taylor Lautner. He did he was in Cheap Brothers 2. He was alright in that. He was in I think Twilight movies. Yeah, Abduction. Yeah, and I think he was in Grown Ups too as well. Taylor Dooley as Lava Girl. I guess she didn't have much of a career after this. David Arquette and Kristen Davis play the parents. Uh, David Arquette, you should know him as Dewey Riley from the Scream movies. Eight-Legged Freaks. Yeah, Airheads. He had a bit part in that. Never Been Kissed. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I guess he was in that TV show or whatever. And like I said, Eight-Legged Freaks. I like that movie. Kristen Davis. Um, I just remember her in The Shaggy Dog, which I did like that with Tim Allen. I like that movie. Um, and Deck the Halsey. I don't care for that movie. She was in 9 Months. Couples Retreat. I think she's from Sex and the City movies, stuff, TV, whatever. Jack and Jill. Yeah, not a good movie either. Journey to Mysteries Island. George Lopez is in it as Mr. Electric. Yeah, not a big George Lopez fan. The only superhero movie that I think he did was after this was last year. That was Blue Beetle. Above average movies, but that movie above average film, I would say. It's alright, But Blue Beetle is a better movie than this. Not a masterpiece, but it has better visual effects than this, in my opinion. I know he had the George Lopez show, and I'm not a huge George Lopez fan, but that's just me. Yeah, he did a voice for Marmaduke. Marmaduke I didn't care for. Saw that in theaters. The Smurfs, yeah, those were not good movies, in my opinion. So I've never been a big George Lopez fan, but that's just me. Jacob DeVitch as Linus, minus whatever. He's the bully man at school and steals his dream journal. Sasha Purchase as Ice Princess, Marissa. The only thing I've seen is that beautiful actress by the way. I think she was Allison from Pretty Little Liars, and it's been off Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist. She was a teenage girl in X Men First Class. Just had a cameo in that. Yeah. Director Robert Rodriguez has uncredited role voicing a shark and his children. Rebel and Racer. Okay, but I've already told the plot synopsis of the movie. Okay, I'll get into the movie itself. Sorry. Right, so the Adventures of Sharp of Lar- the Adventures of Sharkboy and Lavagirl opens up with Max telling his Caden boy telling his story. He's a lonely child in the suburbs of Austin who creates an imaginary dream world named Planet Drool. Where all of his dreams come to life, he creates two characters: Sharkboy, which Sharkboy was a kid that lived with his father. Um, and again, this film has a lot of green screen, a lot of it, the whole movie basically, and the CGI is awful. You have the sharks not talking. I'm sorry, sharks talking. It's just funny. It's really terrible seeing sharks move their mouth and talking. Like, hold on, guys, this guy's not for dinner. Teaching him how to. But him and his father get lost at sea. They have this facility, but it drowns or something like that, and they get drifted from sea on these boats. So the sharks take him to their lair. He swims with the sharks. They teach him how to swim like a shark, and you know, he gets fins, shark teeth. You know, and then he mentioned that he saw he met Sharkboy one time, and they became friends. He kind of kept him like a pet. And Lava Girl came. She can produce fire with lava, but has trouble touching objects without setting them alright. She can't really touch things without destroying it. Then the two left Max to guard Planet Drool, and the class is like, you know, they tell him a story that they left him or whatever, that he couldn't come because he had school tomorrow. The class, even Linus says, we're supposed to tell the story that she was like, it is true, and then kids laugh at him. The girl that Marissa, the one that from Pretty Little Liars, who played Allison, she's like the only one who believes him. You know, George Lopez is like, it's just a little fantasy, it's not true. And he tells Linus to pick him. He tells Linus that they need him and Kate and Boy need to be friends. Him and Max need to be friends. Afterwards, Max had his journal books, and Linus tries to take away from him, like, right with it. He kind of hits him in the face, and Linus, because the book actually resurrects and you know punches him in the face. And Linus' friends chase him. He's like, "Give me the book." He throws the book, goes down the slide. They go chasing each other on the playground. Tries to climb on the ropes. Ends up getting a nut. You know, getting nut sacked by one of the ropes. And has the book in his mouth, drops it. Linus steals it. I give it back to Marlon. No. And then he's having a dream that night of Sharkboy and Lavagirl talking to him. And then he goes, down there seeing these cookies that they eaten from Sharkboy and one touch from Lavagirl that's hot. And his parents tell him they have little time for him, and their relationship doesn't go well because his parents argue a lot. And his dad says, "Well, kids need to have their fantasies." Like, "Yes, son, they're real." I'm like, "No, they're not. It's just fantasy." But you know, and the mom comes off as a bitch a little bit here because David Cross plays a good dad. In the movie, at least he's trying. He's in a bad movie, and at least he's trying. Maybe he's got a really good paycheck for this. But anyway, he tells them, "Well, kids need to have their fantasies. Well, kids need to grow up." I'm like, wow, can't let the kid just have his fantasy. Yeah. He does receive some friendship from Marissa, the girl, but her father, Mr. Electric, honestly, that's Electric, whatever, terrible name. And he's like, "Well, Max says he's still my journal or whatever." And he reads the journal, and Max, and Linus messed it up, and he throws the book at him and says, "Hey, ruined my book." No, he's like, "All right, you're both going timeout." Then all of a sudden, this tornado happens. These twin tornadoes attack Sharp One Logo March Rant, and they say, "Where's Max?" And they say they need his help. He comes to Planet Joy. He's like, "I'm happy to get out of here." And they drive in a CGI shark bazooka missile, like a shark missile that's CGI. They end up confronting Mr. Electric, uh, who's got the electric cords to fight them. Shark Boy, fighting them. Again, this is 3D, so it's a lot of everything you see is green screen in the dream world. You know, they tell him, "Max, we brought you here to the dream, but you can help us, defeat him. He's going to destroy Planet Droid." They save these kids on a roller coaster because the fun doesn't stop. And Mr. Electric, he was played by George Lopez as well. who has, the looks like a crystal ball, but it's with electric hands and feet. It's all a terrible shot though. Mhm. They attack him, but they lose. They say, Max, do something, and then he drops them off in where dreams become forgotten. It's called the Dream Graveyard. They end up finding Tobar, a robot that Max made with his dad but never finished. And Tobar, I think, is voiced by George Lopez. Tells them about their futures or whatever. Tells them he gives them a lift to the other parts of the planet. They face these hardships as the movie with Sharkboy angry for the oceans being frozen over. He's about to get mad at Max and punch him because they want him to sleep because he's the daydreamer, so they need him to sleep. Lavagirl wants to find her purpose, and the only thing left them to do is to visit the Ice Princess, but she doesn't want to do it. But she has to go through the, roll on the to walk it down. She has to just, uh, you know, stay calm and stuff because Minus, who was a villain, who was like ahead, an electric head tells them to find him. They want to fix the dream world by they try to steal the crystal heart, but it's on her necklace. As Max figures it out, they get captured though by Mr. Electric. They go to Minus. He orders the dream world with Max's own book. Sharkboy gets pissed off and has a frenzy and attacks it and bites them out of there. And there's a lot of puns, jokes in here as well. They end up, sneaking up to Minus while he's sleeping. He sleeps with his eyes open. They take the book. Uh, they try to look into it. They read about, they say, yes, your father's at the ocean, but he's in a submarine. Shark Boy and Lavagirl, yeah, you're meant to be this. She tries to read about what she's about, but she's like, why did you make me out of fire, Max? He's like, well, she needs to cool off. Crystal Heart, well, apparently the Ice Princess can't leave her home, so they try to use the Crystal Heart against Minus, but it doesn't work. You know, Max, who has no powers, can't fly like they do, tries to fight the plugs, and eventually gets shot. You know, yeah. The only reason I'm bringing you all through this is because I don't really remember much of this movie. I've already watched it. I've already, forgotten about it. And honestly, I was kind of bored the whole time while watching it, so I could care less what I was watching on screen. My mind was elsewhere, elsewheres, elsewheres while watching this movie. And I lost my damn mind watching the movie. Yeah. Sharp Boy, Mr. Electric tries to intimidate him to jump into the water. Electric Field, which kills him, and Lava jumps there to save him, kills her, drains her powers, and he has to run her to safety. And all of a sudden, Max gets powers, super speed, and he fights Minus, and it's a very silly, silly fight. Bad CGI fight. They decide to make a better teamwork, become, friends. and Mr. Lester has to go to the real, the real world to kill Max while he's dreaming. Max's parents get sucked into the storm and they say, "I'll never leave you, I'll never leave you." Then Sharkboy and Lavagirl save them. Max gives the crystal heart to Marissa. She uses it as a person. She destroys Mr. Electric. He's defeated, yay. And Planet Jewel is saved. And at the end, Max later informs class that Planet Jewel becomes a proper dream world again. Sharkboy became the king of the ocean, still searching for his father in the submarine. Lava Girl became queen of the volcanoes. Max finally finishes Tovar. He says, "A dream, a better dream, and work to make it real." And that's Sharkboy and Lava Girl for you. Okay, to give my final thought. Yeah, this is probably going to be a short review. This will be some of my thoughts on this film. I think some of my thoughts. I thought this film sucked. Again, I gave it 4 reasons want to make it for kids, but still, it's still terrible. I'm not gonna give this movie you know, the slip. I'll give it the finger, right? And that's what I think of it. I'm just kidding. I'm not really pissed off. I was just bored by this movie. And honestly, I don't know if this is kind of an epic rant. I'll just say rant slash review because this movie didn't really piss me off. It just bored me to death. It was boring. It was terrible. Um, the directing and writing was terrible. I hated the directing and writing of this film. Robert Rodriguez did terrible writing and producing. The directing is terrible. The story is awful. The main 3 kids, Caden Boyd, Taylor Julie, and Taylor Lautner, they're all 3 of them are terrible at the acting stuff. George Lopez acting is bad. David Arquette and Kristen Davis, they tried. They're the only actors here that are fine. But the rest, including George Lopez, the girl Allison from Pretty Little Liars, Marissa, she does all right. It seems like some people in this movie are kind of trying, but they're in such a terrible movie, you know, a badly written movie, because the story sucks. The CGI, the green screen, it's all green screen. The CGI is awful. It doesn't hold up. It looks terrible. Everything about this movie looks awful. It reminded me, I think this came right after Spy Kids 3, probably. I don't know. I ain't gonna look it up. It is similar to that from 2003, so let's see. Yeah, he did Once Upon a Time in Mexico and Sin City, and then she mentioned Sharkboy Lava Girl. So that's why he probably got the idea. Said, "Well, I'll make another kids movie because Spy Kids 3D was so amazing that we needed a movie, another movie, different kind of movie like this, another movie type like this." It does give me the Spy Kids 3D vibe, and it's just terribly done. I hate 3D. I don't like 3D at all. 3D sucks. I like Jaws 3, but I don't want to see Jaws in 3D. Or Friday 13th Part 3 in 3D. I don't need to see that crap. 3D is just terribly shot. I just want to see the movie. I want to look at the movie, the amazing visual effects and cinematography that it is. And yeah, amazing that it is. The cinematography is ugly in this movie. It looks awful. It's all of it's green screen. The whole movie, it's only the scenes in Max's house or at school, in the school, on the playground. Everything that looks practical. Some nice shots there, I'll admit. But other than that, the film's horribly shot. Max is the actor plays as Kane Boyd. He's better in small roles. He's not a good actor in my opinion. He's awful in this movie. You know, it's just the acting is terrible. Not only that, the film is boring for me. It's boring to sit through. I was just sitting there thinking, the Never Ending Story is a better movie than this. Clash of the Titans. That's not a kids movie because they show nudity in it, but so Clash of the Titans. I'm talking about the special effects in that movie look a lot better than here. You know, I'm just saying I've seen better effects in kids movies, or that's including animation. Atlantis Lost Emperor, if that you can say that's for kids probably from Disney. Atlantis Lost Emperor, can't freaking speak. Yeah, this movie drove me out of my mind, But that movie had incredible animation when you watch that. Angels in the Outfield. To bring that up, that had better special effects with the angels. So yeah, why does the whole movie need to be CGI? Honestly, call me an old fart, but I think I'd rather just take practical effects in movies all day over terrible, awful CGI any day of the week. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Uh, One movie I think about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He said that movie's kind of for kids, well, sort of kind of adults too. I would say it's both for kids and adults can watch that movie because it's good, but at least it's a better shot movie with the characters. It was great. Small Soldiers. Some of it has dated CGI, but the whole movie's not a whole entire CGI fest. It's a better shot movie. Um, Godzilla 1998. Godzilla looks better than any character in this movie. Independence Day has better special effects. I'm just going through mine. Harry and the Hendersons. Uh, Harry looks better in makeup by Rick Baker and stuff. Space Jam has better effects than this. Say what you will. Scooby Doo from 2002 has better shots than this. 101 Dalmatians. A little bit of CGI in there. Better shot looking movie. Scooby Doo Mystery Begins. Better shot. The Cat in the Hat with Batman. Yeah, that's a shitty film, but the production side, the way that Fantasy World looks at that movie, it does look good. I'll give the movie that, but that's still an awful movie. The Flintstones from 1994. Practical. It's beautiful. I love the way they make Bedrock in that movie. Yeah, I'm just kind of going through nostalgia a little bit. Scooby Doo Two Monsters Unleashed. I watched that the other day, and that looks fantastic with special effects and CGI. So it can look great when you do it right. Galaxy Quest, another film that has better special effects. That's a lot of special. Not the entire movie, but when it gets there, it's great. But still, Sharkboy and Lavagirl. That's the term phrase the CGI I'm bitching about. But the acting is bad. The writing is terrible. The music score, I trust that. Like, it's kind of scoring it. I can't do it right, but it's just terrible, you know, and irritating to listen to. 93 minutes. What's the best part about the movie? It is fast paced, and it's 93 minutes long. It goes by at a good pace. Which thank God it was not 2 hours. Oh my lord! Just looking at the new movie. The new movie's 100 minutes long. I'm like, no thanks. Yeah, really don't want to care. I don't really care to see the Stanley Legacy sequel. Whatever. They made books. I forgot to mention the movie did get some lawsuits or a lawsuit. The Total No Time Action wrestler Dean Roll, who trademarked the name Sharkboy in 1990, sued Miramax on June 8th, claiming that in 2005, claiming that his trademark been infringed and demanding any money, profits, and advances wrongfully gained in April 2007. The suit was settled for an undisclosed amount. The follow-up, like I said, was the We Can Be Heroes. So, yeah, but I don't know what else. The story sucks. The only thing I can give it is David Arquette, Kristen Davis. They try. They try in this movie. Yeah, the kid that plays Minus, he's terrible, and the little girl, they try. They're trying, but it's not saving the movie. And the whole film is a terrible CGI fest. And the green screen is all film. The entire movie, the 100% of the whole movie is green screen. Yeah, and it's laughably bad sometimes, especially with the sharks talking. The sharks look awful in CGI. You want to laugh at the shark in Jaws? At least that shark doesn't talk, which should be ridiculous and stupid. It looks better. Yeah, Robert Rodriguez did a terrible job directing this movie. This is, in my opinion, one of the worst movies ever made. I don't get why it has a cult following. And if you love the movie, that's fine. If you grew up watching the movie, if you were born in the 2000s or late 90s and you grew up watching this movie, you saw this film in theaters as a kid and you loved it, cool. I'm not here to ruin your nostalgia. If you disagree with me, we can agree to disagree. If you love the film, that's fine. But I hated it. I hated this movie. Yeah, this is gonna be fun after rant because this film I thought sucked. It's just boring, terrible. Yeah, not only the acting sucked, everything about it really sucked. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I never want to watch it again. 93 minutes, I'll never get back. That 1 hour and 32 minutes, whatever, I'll never get back from this film. So my rating for The Adventures of Sharkboy Lavagirl in 3D or just whatever, like I really care. And the 3D didn't help it. My rating for this film, I'm gonna give The Adventures of Sharkboy and Lavagirl in 3D. My rating for this film, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down and 0 out of 5 stars. My rating for this film is 0 to 5 stars. Yes, I hated this film. And don't give me this. Whoa, it's nothing, nothing. Sorry. Anyway, guys, if you like the movie, that's fine. But don't give me that excuse it's a kids movie. I've mentioned a lot of other kids movies here that are better written and better made. Not all kids movies, but a lot of movies that are a lot better, better stories as well that I mentioned. Even if they're not kids movies, the movies I mentioned that are better than this, like Never Ending Story, has a better story than this. And looks great on screen. Looks great. So I don't want to hear it. You watch a real good kids movie that's like a fantasy and a dream world, go watch The Never Ending Story. Better movie than this, in my opinion. Thanks for watching, guys. And I love that song, Never Ending Story. Memorable than anything in this movie, but thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Tell me in the comments down below what you think of the movie. Oh, next will be a revisit review. I did review this movie back in 2014, I think, or 15, because the new one came out in 2015. I know they're making a new movie, but this will be another Marvel review of, well, of 4 people who are fantastic. You got it. I will be doing a review for the 2005 superhero film, Marvel 2005 superhero. This is, again, still way before the MCU ever happened. That will be the Fantastic Four from 2005, the first movie. Yeah, from 2005. Just see the pictures right here. Right. And the pictures right here. The 2005 film. So, yeah. Which I have a double feature with Rise of Silver Surfer. Yeah, that includes both movies. But just only the review for the first one today. Remember, the second movie, Rise of Silver Surfer, that came out in 2007, so I won't be reviewing that anytime soon. And I will be doing a review on the 2015 movie as well. Let me fix that. But anyway, Fantastic Four, the 2005 movie, that will be the next revisit review, guys. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of Shark Boy and Lava Girl in your opinion? The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Do you like it or do you hate it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye.